Hello all and welcome back to ABO Forex Trading, episode 5, Breakout Retests. Last week we looked at double bottom, double top formations and we kept it very safe in the sense that we only looked at continuous trades, but also we looked for a closing candle in our direction before entering a trade. While this is a very safe matter of trading, it also gave us quite a large stop loss, which meant we also had quite a large target before we could hit our first TP, when we looked for, say, 1-3 trade. It also meant our targets were quite larger when we employed a risk management strategy that looked for a 1-10 trade. Here I'm going to do something slightly different. We're still looking for a structure to be formed. We're going to look for a break of the structure, but on the first pullback and re-enter of this area, we're going to take additional risk by having a buy limit set. That means once it hits our entry point, our trade will automatically open and we'll be in the trade. The risk here is that the trade could continue in the opposite direction and hit our stop loss immediately before continuing in our direction, or just continue off into distance in the opposite way. It is a very risky system. So choose your risk reward management properly, do your back testing as always, and make sure you're confident in the trading strategy you put forward before opening a trade. So here, I'm going to give you a few examples of trades I've marked out that actually worked out. Some areas are marked out that the trade never came back to the target, which will happen, and some areas where the trade continued in the opposite direction and their stop loss immediately. So trade 1, we have this area being set up. I marked off the lowest point in the structure. Once it broke past that structure and confidently broke, I'm going to say. So this one candle would not be significant for me because it just barely closed beyond it. Second candle is significant for this strategy. Back tested again. So at this point, my buy limit is set that if it comes back here, I'm into it. So I'll continue on for another 2, 3, 4 candles. Okay, back hit it. We were in a small bit of a stop loss there for a while. And then it moved forward into our direction. So this trade is slow opened. It might close before we finish up this video. It might not. Let's wait and see. Next trade I marked out was this one over here. So this trade broke this height very well. Candle closed bullish. Another candle moved forward for a long direction, came back. Next candle came down, hit our buy limit, and then took off immediately. But notice the small retest of this area. Depending on spread, this trade might not have entered. So there's multiple things you can do. You can just set it at that line directly, take a chance, hopefully it broke with very little spread. Or you can adjust the trade that it starts 2 or 3 pips in your direction. It doesn't have to come down and exactly hit that line. This implies more risk because in every trade you're going to see here, I set a stop loss of 10 pips for every trade. I haven't looked at previous structure. I haven't looked at anything relevant to a support area. I just set 10 pips. So if it comes down beyond 10 pips, I'm stopped out straight away. And as you see in additional trades, that did not play out for me. This one, it did. I also marked out this yellow box as an area of interest, see would it come back into trade, but it didn't. Broke out, another bearish candle, so in theory, that would have a sell limit set here, but it didn't come anywhere close to the area to open a trade. So we'll move on. Next trade here, example I just spoke about. Area of support, marked out, it came back into a sell area. I now my sell limit set. It came back into the target area, trade opened, and immediately shot off in the opposite direction and hit my stop loss. So if I had waited, I'm going to say, for this structure to be formed and set something around here when the trade had proven to me that it was going to move off in a sell direction, I could set 1-3 off that, depending on different strategies that you might have. But for this example, that is not what we're looking at. Sell limit was set, stop loss hit, we move on. Next trade, again, area marked out. It moved forward, big close. Well, big-ish close. Came back to the area and it came very close to stop loss, but didn't hit. But again, if you had kept it 2 or 3 pips off that line, like I discussed previous, it would have been a lot closer. Spread might have taken you out here. But for this example, it hit profit. Next trade, same thing. Area marked out, resistance seen, broke above, pullback, entry, and off you go. Profit. Same thing here. Bigger push forward, pull back into the area, and move off into profit. So here's an example of one trade that didn't actually hit. At no point in time did we come back and retest this area. So a buy limit would not have been triggered in this instance, so no trade would have been made. Here, we're looking for a sell limit. So big close in the sell area, came back to retest. I had my trade position 2 or 3 pips below my area, and trade entered, and straight away stop loss hit. That happens. Another trade, stop loss hit. I would say practically immediately from here, depending on spread. But if you kept it 2 or 3 pips away from that entry line, it would have hit stop loss straight away. New trade here, barely tapped in, well away from the stop loss, 1-3 target hit. Again here, broke this area, came back, retested, 1-3 target hit, marked out this area before this big candle closed, never came back to hit it. Structure broke, pulled away, came back, target hit, stayed around stop loss for area for a long time before eventually moving off and hitting your target. Example of trade marked out, I did not consider it strong enough to set a stop loss or set a sell limit. So I did not enter a trade. I was waiting for it to come back over here, but did not hit. So no trade was opened. Over here, broke our area strong, came back, sell limit opened, stop loss hit. So lost there. Structure broke, profit taken, structure broken, very close stop loss here, potentially a loss depending on the spreads or whether you kept it a bit away from your entry line. That could have been a loss. Structure broken, came back, profit taken. Structure broken, came back, profit taken eventually. Structure broken, came back, moved very close to your TP. If you're going for 1-3, came all the way back to entry and off went again. So potentially a double top formation here you could have entered off of. And multiple more trades could be taken, different lines marked out where you could have looked for entries. So that is your breakout retest structure, buys and sell trades taken. Some things to think about. Do you want 10 pip stop loss? Do you want 15 to be more conservative? I think in pretty much every example that I would have lost, nearly all of them would have any loss I took off 10 pips, I would have taken a loss off of 15 pips, maybe 1 or 2 extra I would have won. But again, if you're looking for a 1-3, that means 15 pip stop loss would need a 45 pip TP to keep that 1-3 target. Maybe you want a 1-2, that's enough for you. Again, set your strategy, set your limits. You don't have to set a sell limit or buy limit. You can wait for the candle to close in your direction before you take that entry. There's different ways of setting up your strategy, setting up your risk reward, setting up break-even strategies. So please do the work, do the back testing, forward test this before you take any trade. Thank you. Goodbye.